One. Now I'd like to introduce you to my two friends, Wilma and Betty Rubble and Wilma Flintstone. And when I was putting this together, I was going, well, do I get two celebrities? And then there might be, maybe I got the wrong ones. So I just went back into saying, I'm just going to get Betty and Wilma. I don't think I'm going to get into trouble with that one. Now, my friends Betty and Wilma actually are workers at the Shire of Bedrock. And they're great friends, as we know. They've got I think they've got a child, they've got husbands, etc. Now, the interesting thing about Wilma is, Wilma actually did a session like this with me, which is great. And Wilma's decided that she's going to put things in place. And she wants to have a life by design. That's what Wilma's doing. Wilma's got a life by design. Now, Betty, on the other hand, she couldn't be bothered coming to anything to see me or any other information. Betty lives a life by default. That's how Betty lives her life. And through our session, we're going to take you through the Betty and Wilma and what happens in between. And it really came from a movie that I saw way back in 1998, that classic movie called Sliding Doors, with our own Gwyneth Paltrow. Great show. What happens when she got on the bus or on the train, sliding door, and it went in two spots? And that's where I got this. I thought, let's talk about two people. One that actually wants to live a life by design and what she does, and another person that just lives a life by default. And no, nothing on her. That's just the way she lives her life. So we're going to be referring to Wilma and Betty. Wilma wakes up every morning because she has been reading about Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius was an emperor of the Roman Empire back in 165 AD to 180 AD. It's a long time ago. Now, the interesting thing about that is Marcus Aurelius was not only an emperor, he was also a philosopher, and he did a lot of work in the area of the Stoics. Now, the Stoics is a philosophy, and one of their things was Marcus Aurelius. And if you're still wondering who Marcus Aurelius may be, well, he was in Gladiator, and he was the guy that passed away and actually gave the leadership to our good friend Russell Crowe, but of course that didn't quite go down the right way. So anyway, that's where Marcus Aurelius comes from, but more so he was a philosopher. And what he looked at his life and said, you know where life starts? It starts in the morning. Every morning is a new day. And so he made the quote, win the morning, win the day. How do you start your day? That's right. Is it like Betty? Betty gets up. Betty just gets up and that alarm, slams that alarm down, up she gets, and she starts getting into the world, getting the kids sorted, get that breakfast, just a quick bit of toast because I've got things to do, I'm pretty busy, I've got stuff happening, gets in the car, puts Bam Bam into the childcare or school, wherever he's going, drives into work, and away she goes. She just gets up and does it. Wilma, she has a morning ritual. Now, she doesn't do this every morning, but she does one of them. And I'd like to call them the 4 M's. Mastery, mantra, mindfulness, and movement. And she does this, one of these, or all 4, each morning. Because she wants to start the day in a frame of mind where it's going to be energized. She's going to start her day already in a happy place. Not just getting up out of bed and just going for it. She's going to start with something. So let's look at mastery. So mastery is all about seeking wisdom. Just a matter of saying to yourself, what am I going to learn today? Each morning, she says, what am I going to learn today? What's on the agenda that I can be that little bit better than yesterday? Right? That's how she gets up. When I got up this morning, my mastery was, who were the people that I was going to meet today? I was quite excited about that. Straight away, smile on my face. Who am I going to meet today? And by 10 o'clock, I'd already met all of you, just enough to say hello. That's great. That's how I started. First thought in my head, bang. The next part is about a mantra. A mantra that you can say to yourself that actually puts you in a positive frame of mind. Puts you in a spot that actually says, yes, let's do this. And here's one I'd like you to write down. Write this down at home as well. This is mine, and I think it's something very pertinent to what we're talking about. The difference between the person you are and the person you want to be is what you do. The difference between the person you are and the person you want to be is what you do. This light that sits there, like Wilma, she didn't want to do that Betty thing anymore. She didn't want to live that life. She wanted to live a life by design. So she started doing things. First thing was mastery. What am I going to learn today? And she thought about, this is what I'm going to learn today. And she had a mantra. I'd like everybody thinking right now, what's your mantra? Just have a little think about some words that you may use or say to yourself, and in a minute you're going to get to write them up. The next part was a mindfulness. We're going to talk a little bit about mindfulness. That's about relaxing the brain. Because remember our Betty jumps out of bed, gets the kids ready, gets in the car, starts driving. Brain's on, ready to go. And the last one was movement. And we're going to talk about movement, why that's important. That's our 4 M's. Every morning. Now you may be sitting there saying, Luke, I don't have time for any of that. Right, well, there's the thing. We do have time. We're gonna find that time. I'll show you where that time lives. So that's not going to be an excuse of doing nothing. The first thing about time is, whatever time you get up right now, it only takes 10 minutes to get up 10 minutes beforehand. So if you get up at 5, you get up at 10 to. I don't think anyone actually gets up at 5. Maybe they do, don't know. But what time do you start the day? We'll get into that in a tick.